As we always do, testing 1 2 1 2. What's happening, good people? Welcome to House Culture Conversations. What's happening, DJ Dewey B?
What's up, DJ DLott? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you. How's the week going so far?
Not too bad, not too bad. The weather is it's cold now, but I think 50s or 60s tomorrow. Imagine that.
Well, just so you know, I'm headed towards 30s tonight in
Yeah,
Florida. So, I can't get too excited about my weather right now. But, I'm happy to hear you got the upper hand on the weather. Nice to see the Chi-Town folks win every now and again. You know what I'm saying?
but we'll see now. We'll see.
Right. You can't count it until it happens, right?
Right,
That's
right.
what they said anyway. But yeah, hey, without further ado, let's get this show started. We got very interesting guests tonight. I think the fans are going to love them. So I hope you guys will come on into the chat, bring your questions, and just show your support and love for our guest tonight, DJ Black Sjuan. What's happening? What's happening?
Good evening, fellas. I am Black Sjuan this evening. All up and through yo area.
Welcome.
All right.
Just kidding.
Well, welcome. I think that is the most unique opening we have had. Hey, DJ Black Sjuan,
It helps
welcome.
me. I'm a little nervous, so helps me loosen up a little.
Well, hey, we are loose with that, and I tell you what, it is very, very good to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How you doing in the midst of all this COVID and this stuff that's going on?
People made a lot of people mad, but it's okay. It got me into making tracks for myself. I started my label. I put together, I got a bad team. My team is bad. So everything happens for a reason, it was hard and, basically I just grinded through it, just tried to grind through it. And it looks like things are starting to pay off.
I'm glad to hear that.
Hey, you gotta roll with it, man.
Yeah. Glad to hear you made those choices, as tough as they may have been. And to your point, that turned in an opportunity to make your own tracks, do your own thing. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you find yourself in this thing called house.
I bounced around a lot, but I went to my last part of high school and college in Champaign, Illinois. So a lot of the previous guests that you've had on the show talked about how that when they went to college, they went to the U of I and they played parties and brought house music down to Champaign. I was one of those guys. I was like a townie. I used to have to sneak into the parties and stuff, but it was magnetic. It was magnetic. Honestly, if I was to say a point in my life, and I'm 50, I'm 51 actually. I'm 51. Half a century. One of the most magical, I had to say, things that might make you believe in magic is me finding house music, man. It just came at the right time, and it was always been there, and it's just my biggest love. And so it was those guys that introduced me to it. So, basically in high school, so can't get into the parties, right? So I had an older friend who used to come to Chicago, and he used to drive up for parties. And so we would drive up to Chicago on a Friday night, and we would take tapes with us and put the tape in the deck, go to the party, get back from the party, grab the tape, put it in the deck, drive home with the Hot Mix 5 or whoever was on the radio that night, or GCI or whatever. So basically my weekend was like house music discovery, house music college, and we did that for a long time until, parties got better and I got older and I could get into parties in Champaign, and then it was like, I just followed DJs around, man. I'd carry records. I would plug stuff in. I'm not gonna lie, man. I was that guy, like just, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And I know I got on some DJs' nerves, man, because I was just trying to learn, but I was looking at records, everything, man. And I just learned that way, and that led to my first drum machine and first sampler. And like I was telling you guys before, I thought I was going to be MK. When MK first started, he was just a producer. He didn't DJ. So, and I had that example to follow. So I was like, well, it can be done. So, you know, I'm just going to produce records for my friends and put them out and blah. That's going to be, you know, I'll be behind the music, you know. But when you produce house music and you don't DJ, it creates a space. There's a space. There's a connection that you're not getting, and also you're missing some of the most incredible energy you can feel to be able to like get that energy from the crowd and give it back. And I mean, it's when you do it once, when you play that, when you're up there, you're doing your thing, but you drop that one right at the right time, right at the right spot, and you get it once. I mean, that's enough to carry you to the next year. But if you get hot, fingers get hot. You start getting it. You start getting that. You start feeling it. You start reading. I'm a big nerd. I learned how to read lips so that I could see, so I could understand what the crowd was doing more. I love this. So I'm an empath, and that helps. So when you start feeling it and start really communicating with the crowd on a level outside of speech, outside of, you know, even signs and whatever, that's when you can start hitting one after another. And then after your sets are just like that. And after a while, you just don't miss anymore. I mean, you know, everybody misses here and there. But I mean, once you understand what you're shooting for, once you feel that human connection, that's when you just, you know, it's kind of like when sprinters say there's a point to where you feel like you're running so fast that you're in anti-gravity. That's it.
That's it. So DJ Dewey B, he said something pretty interesting there. We was talking about, you know, trying to be behind the music, not having been a DJ. Now you've been, yeah, obviously in both worlds as a successful producer and as a DJ. Would you share those same thoughts?
Definitely. Black Sjuan is talking about the heart of it. Actually, it's the heart of any music is to be able to feel the crowd reaction. And a person like Black Sjuan is the heart of the music too. You know, we need people to feel it that way. We need people to come into the club, sneak into the clubs, let's say, and try to hear it so badly that they, you know, they're gonna do something, anything to go hear that.
Nothing was gonna keep me from that 4/4. Nothing. Right. I look back on it and there was nothing. I mean, if I caught, man, let me tell you this. I used to work at Tower Records in Chicago on Clark Street. You know Tower Records? Because I worked there for a long time off and on because they just kind of accommodated my DJ career. I'd leave, go to Europe, and I'd come back, hey, you know, so it was, I kind of abused it a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, but Tower Records was more than a great educational thing for me. That was like DJ college for me because it was right down the street from Gramophone. So, I mean, lunch money, whatever I was going to eat, down at Gramophone. What? $2 for this? Great. Got it. You know, like Old Romanthony, grab that too. You know, like, and I mean, I'm not going to lie. There was plenty of lunch periods where it wasn't an hour. It was more like 2 hours, 3 hours. But, you know, Tower was a big department store. So, you know, I would have decoys and, you know, have people, you know, hey, tell them this, bro. It was nothing was gonna keep me from that 4/4. I love this. So,
I love what he said. Dewey talks about that all the time. Lunch money was record money.
Yeah, yep. That's what it was. Rent money. I ain't gonna lie. It's 30 years, man. You know, I was goofy back in the days, and there were times when, you know, I had to have that record to play that night because I had it in my mind. Oh, I'm gonna tell you something that I do, and I know nobody admit to this, but I admit to it. Like I said, I have synesthetic memory, so I steal blends, man. I steal it, man. I hear something, and I'll be like, I have to try it to see if it worked or whatever. And I'm not saying, you know, I'm totally like, you know, I'm not Carlos Mencia on people's stuff, but I take influence from everybody, man. Everybody, man. I love Derek's creativity. I love like Joe Clausel's spirituality. I love the gods. I mean, Todd Terry. I mean, just power, just straight power. I mean, you know, masters at work. I mean, genius. You know, I mean, I'm a fan of this. I mean, you can name anybody, and I can tell you something beautiful. I mean, people that you wouldn't even think I liked, like Laurent Garnier, genius. I mean, he can go from like style to style to style, like effortlessly. I tell you, I was in Germany playing in Germany. I was touring with Rush a long time ago, and I was in Germany. I was at Trésor before it closed, right? Just happened to be there. Jeff Mills upstairs, John Aquaviva downstairs. And I just happened to have some intoxicants, I guess, with me. All I did was I just went upstairs to downstairs and studied those cats, man. Jeff Mills, I don't know if you guys ever, Jeff Mills is a big, techno god. This cat is seductive. You never seen somebody on the decks just be giving the eyes to women, just be like, man, I can tell you something. I studied everybody. I love this. I'm a big fan, so.
That's amazing. Now, just the fact that you've done so much, not just here in the U.S., but abroad, demonstrates the reach of house music. Why do you think it's so popular even today, 30 years, 40 years later?
I have a theory for that, and I think you'll like it. I've been saying this for years. I even did a record on a Japanese label with Mozzie. I used to be DJ partners with I don't know if you know DJ Mozzie, but we did a record a long time ago, and this is my theory. House music it goes past physical. It goes past just, pressure on your eardrum. It goes past, the mental state that you get in. And it traverses the spiritual, and I believe that it traverses mental, physical, and spiritual so well is because, number one, when your ears were first forming in your mother's womb, first thing you heard
was a beat.
Boom, 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 boom. Dig what I'm saying? So that's the first thing you ever made sense of. And not only that, that heartbeat supplied everything to you, your oxygen, your blood, everything. It built you. With every beat, cells were forming. You're coming into consciousness. You're hearing, all of that from a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. That began you in this world. So honestly, when I hear people say, I don't get it, honestly, I really don't understand it. When people hear that, and to me, like a 4/4 rhythm is like a universal musical thing. Anybody can understand it. If boom, 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 boom. You don't have to tell people it's house music or whatever. Somebody hears that, you just understand it. It's like music. Anybody understands music because it's music. You know what I'm saying? But I really feel like in this universe, in this plane of being, us starting with that heartbeat and everything about you, your soul, your mentality, your the way your fingers formed, all that came from boom, 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 boom. And in music and what we hear, that's the closest thing we have. House beat, boom, boom, boom. It's the closest thing we have to that. And I think that all of us that love it so much, I think that's where it stems from. I think all of us sort of have some sort of, connection back to that. And when we heard it, it just connected. And I'll tell you this, everybody has a womb thing. Everybody, we all, like when we get hurt, when our heart is broken, when we're mad, when the world whoops us, I'm sorry, when the world whoops us bad, we all have a womb thing. Some of us, some of us drink, some of us do drugs, or some of us just curl up and just want to go home and all that. All that is a womb thing, meaning like you bring yourself to your most comfortable. You don't want no pain. You don't want no stress. I'm going to sit here and eat pizza and watch Three Stooges for 3 days. Just that's a womb thing. We all want to return to that most comfortable place, the womb, when the world hurts us. House is that womb. House is that womb. We go to the party. Think about it. Boom, boom, boom. It's big. Now, what does that remind you of? When you was about this big and the heart was that big and it was boom, boom. And it was your whole world was boom, boom. When you come to a club, you start to feel, you can feel your heartbeat starting beating a little fast. You start to get in a better mood when you hear that boom, boom, And that's my theory. I think that's why it's never gonna go away. I think somehow we reach something tribal, not tribal, but ritualistic in our soul with this. And I think it's never gonna go away. And think about it. How many different things can you put between a 4/4 rhythm drum? Infinitely. You know, there's certain rhythms you can't fit with a 6/8 and African drum or 2/3 or whatever. What? You can fit anything. You fit almost any style, classical, blues, jazz, anything into a 4/4 rhythm, universal. It's never going to stop. It's never, as long as people got ears and put it this way, all of us are going to get too old to dance if we lucky. And but you know what? Something going to be moving in that wheelchair when we get old. Something, toe, neck, you don't smile, blinking rhythm. Something going to be moving. And that's what it is. That's my theory. So sorry, it's a big explanation.
DJ Dewey B, what you think?
Definitely speaking the truth, brother. Speak it.
I tell you, that's probably one of the most profound explanations we've had. You know, we've had a spiritual thing.
I'm a nerd.
We're talking about origins.
I'm a nerd. I think about stuff.
Wow. Well, hey, that's well thought. That's well thought through and incredible explanation. And I totally connect with it. You know, because you think about that imagery of, being in the wound and that boom, boom, boom in your eardrum. And similar to you, the experience I had, DJ Dewey B's up there playing those records and that beat, and it just brings you in. It just brings you in and keeps you there.
It's instantaneous, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you've been all around the world doing this craft.
Sorry about that.
Somebody trying to get the beat. Somebody trying to steal the beat.
No, she's real protective. She hears anything outside.
So you've had experiences all around the world with this music. As it relates to your experiences as you were coming up in Chicago, working at Tower Records, working with seeing some of the greats come up and evolve in this art form, what are some of the stories you remember? What are a couple of memorable stories? Or do I get to pick somebody and see if you can tie
you know what? Like, you know what? I got a story that I want to tell. And everybody has this experience. Maybe it was I had been doing like a lot of raves, like in the 90s, raves were real big. So I did raves out in the country, and anything that was happening where there was some house music playing, I had a little part in it in the 90s, like in Chicago. So, but I kind of caught the ear of Ron Carroll. Like me and Ron were at a party, and he heard me and asked me, "Hey, I need somebody to come play with me in East Smooth at Spy Bar. Come play." And I'm like, okay. Blown away. Nobody that, he was big to me, it still is. I'm just saying I was like blown away. Okay, so I show up. I've been to Spy Bar. I know what it's about. You've been to Spy Bar. You know how it is. It's kind of like, so I show up and I'm nervous because I've been around, my crowd was younger, kids, raves, ecstasy, blah, blah, blah. These are like kind of grown folks, and, they doing their thing, but it's grown folk stuff. So, I got my clothes together, pulled it together, went there and showed up, had my little bag and everything. And E was there, man. I had half my bag was full of E. It was, I was like, man, I'm going to show him this. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Half my bag was, because E was like major label remixer, man. So half of it was, I had my favorite stuff in there and my Shola remix. So, or Shyla, I think. Yeah. So anyway, I go in there and I play, and then those guys are kind of, they're, doing their thing and they're socializing and everything. And then Ron plays, and we're just kind of going, hour for hour. So I'm just kind of, once again, I was kind of nervous, and I just kind of went into the womb thing and just kind of went into the corner and was just kind of watching, I was just intimidated. Even though I'd been there, I was intimidated because now I'm like, okay, I'm responsible for the vibe here, so I'm nervous, and everything. And plus I got a major label remixer and one of the kings of Chicago on either side of me. So I'm like, so Ron is just being Ron. He's very social. He's like, hey, man, he's like, hey, loosen up, have a drink, whatever. He's doing his thing, He kind of like saw that I was nervous. Eric came to me and was like, hey, man, how you doing? You all right? I'm like, no, I'm cool with everything. He's like, no, man, it's all good. He just basically put me at ease. He just was basically saying, just remember, it's a party. Now, that phrase, remember, it's a party, totally calmed me down. I mean, basically, E is always supported me. Like, he's one of the cats I look up to, and I can't even believe he likes me. Like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of the coolest cats I know. Now, connecting to that story, I'm going to move back to the early 90s. I had a partner named Mozzie, and we had a label. Now, we didn't know what we was doing. Like, we did the best we could. It was a nice little label, a little boutique label. But anyway, we were doing a label, and we were one of the first ones of our sort of like peer to do a label. So a lot of cats was like, hey, they was impressed and whatever. We didn't know what the hell he was doing. We were just trying to do what we could do, So anyway, we landed a gig at Shelter. Remember Shelter? We landed a gig at Shelter, and it was a Friday night material night. Okay. So what I didn't know was just a lot of people were like totally like, hey, we had our label was called Shroom Records, and they were like, the Shroom Boys are gonna do, whatever. I ain't know the talk was like that, But I will tell you this: back then, wasn't confident enough to flow with it, so I rehearsed the set, and I rehearsed the set. I mean, the set. I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, I still can't believe it. Like, Mozzie, he was like, I don't know how you came up. It was the set, okay? So I'm playing the set. Everybody in Chicago was there. Everybody. I mean, Derek, Sneak, everybody is there. All of Gramophone. We're up on the thing. Shelter's way up high. I'm looking down. I'm seeing everybody. So now, it's not like we were that popular. It was more like, what you gonna do? So, okay. Glad I rehearsed this master set. Set went crazy. I mean, drove them. I mean, it was the most energy I ever got. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like crazy. And we're performing live that night because we released a record. Colette, DJ Colette, we actually did her first record. Me and Mozzie produced her first record. She was going to perform that night. So anyway, she's performing right after my set. So do my set. I'm hitting it. I'm like, master steel technique, nothing's off. I'm making stuff talk back and forth. I got vocals talk. Hey man, I'm hitting it back all the way down to the last record. 10 City acapella, because I was gonna bring the acapella in and then bring the track in, like just to put the cherry on top. The record before that was Shade of Mirror, Tracks with No Name. If you know what I'm saying, that record's on 45. The record I was gonna play is a 33. That was the one on the platter. I forgot to change the speed. Perfect set, rave, the energy. Everybody's like, oh my God, what you gonna do? Everybody was like, oh my God, man. So, obviously I, did my little trick to try to fix it, whatever. But you see what I'm saying? It killed that energy that I rose all the way up. And then it was just sort of like, oh, okay. It was people. So anyway, I was suicidal that night after that. Like, went home, tried to drink myself to death or whatever. No, actually, no. I'll tell you what happened. Right after that, Diz comes up to the DJ booth. And I was actually feeling like I'm going to quit this. I'm not good enough for this. And I wanted to be perfect. So, and honestly, I was really thinking about quitting. So Diz came up and he was like, damn. And I was like, I thought he was saying like, damn, like you messed up. He said, you got to give me a tape. Now, once again, I was a Diz disciple, at times. So he's coming to me and saying, you got to give me a tape. And I was like, you want a tape even after that? And what did he say? It ain't nothing but a party.
Nothing but a party.
So, and people can go back and look on Discogs. That rang out to me so much. I wrote a song. It's called it's a record on. It was on After Hours, and I sang. That's the first record I sang on. And if you go back and listen to it, it's a big disco thing, and then it stops, and then you hear me say, "It ain't nothing but a party." Now that became like some sort of rave favorite for a while, and blah blah blah. But anyway, that's where it came from. It came from like me being, completely overwrought with emotion over this and blah, I'm gonna go kill myself now. And they was like, hey man, it's just a party. And honestly, that's helped me. It's helped me because I'm like, I'm nervous, I'm technical, I try to be a perfectionist. Well, I used to be a perfectionist, now I go for brilliance. But perfection was what I was shooting for. And obviously, that's impossible. So I would beat myself up a lot. And people like E and Diz and Ron and Mel Hammond, who is on my label. When I talk about my team, I'll tell you about him. These cats are the cats who, bring me down and say, hey, man, it's all good. Just a party. It'll be good, so.
Hey, those are magical words, right, DJ Dewey B?
Exactly. And another thing, you remember it like that, but I'm sure everybody that was at the party enjoyed themselves and don't have no recollection of the 45.
Nobody. I've actually told this story. I was like, do you remember it? Nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers. They was like, no, I
remember you giving them a good time.
Yep. Yeah, we don't remember. I don't remember no weird record you got, but I remember the set. So yeah. Again, my perception. I didn't that hour and a half like didn't mean anything after I did that. But yeah, you're right. Nobody remembers that.
Hey, what's happening, good people out there? You're listening to House Culture Conversations with our guest, DJ Black Sjuan. We having a hell of a time. Candy Lady, you right. It's all about the party, and it's just a party. Thanks for joining us tonight. Y'all coming in and have been listening. This has just been an incredible time. DJ Sjuan, tell us about your team.
My team, my label is called Assylum Effort Records because and Mel Hammond, what's up, man? He also wanted me to say this as an example to some cats out there that's DJing and they're in the life. You may be out there and it may get hard. You may make some wrong decisions. Me and Mel made a lot of wrong decisions. We are examples of talent going to our heads sometimes, indulging a little too much, and basically just getting in trouble along with records and music and all that other stuff. And we just want to let you know that like you can come out of that. You can come up out of the house will save you. I know I sound crazy. I said whatever, but honestly, the music saved us. The music. We came together in some sort of fated thing. Me and Mel have known each other for a long time, but it was after this COVID thing, after all the things that we've been through, and we got all the battle scars of DJing years and blah blah blah, and planes and trains and hotels. We came together and we both looked at each other, and somehow we just knew what had to be done. And we coming from the standpoint of like, there's a lot of Chicago producers out there. We think that there is a particular Chicago sound. I'm not saying that there's a synth or there's nothing like that. I'm saying there's a feeling. There's a feeling that Chicago brings. We know that feeling. We lived in that feeling. We know that feeling backwards and forwards. And we're like, I think we should show them what we mean. And so that's what we're doing. And man, we got projects coming out. First of all, let me talk about my team. Sir Mel Hammond, he has a project coming out called Vamos Samba with several remixes. Let me get the names right. DJ Jess, Adonis Childs, Randall Dean, Rin Van Leer. Oh, it's gonna be hot. You're gonna love it. It's a Latin Brazilian house. Ooh, very sexy. Nefertiti AD. She is my Sade. She's a happier Sade. Sade is kind of dark. Nefertiti's a little happier, but sweet voice. She's already got a single out on Assylum Effort. You can go to Bandcamp, Assylum Effort. That's with 2 S's. Assylum Effort Records on Bandcamp or wherever you buy records. We own all that stuff. She is a chanteuse. Basically, her voice, I don't think she ever thought about house music until she met me. And when I showed her, like, hey, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. And I was like, I think you can do this. And so anyway, she's also a producer. She does down-tempo music. I have a producer from South Africa. His name is Sir Nono. Shout out to Sir Nono. This is another cat on my label. Like, I know this cat, he's from South Africa right off the bat. So, like, put your mind what they go through. And then there's some stuff you don't even know, stuff that go on. It's crazy down there. Anyway, he's a cat that has been through some stuff and he grinds it out and he loves this. He loves house music. He also has a single on my label featuring me, and it is called We Are the People. That's good. I got my bench. Those are my first stringers. I got my bench, Zanea Rourke. She's like jazzy house. She's San Francisco. I got PD Pop Dog. He's like a reformed gangster turned record producer. He holds me down. He's I don't know. He's always there for me. And 7 Jack 7 are my jack boys from Central City. Like, those cats just know, they just like to jack. Like, put it this way, like deep house with the instrumentized stuff, they call that the flutes and fiddles are okay, but we like to beat it, so there's some young guys, they got time to get it, but yeah, they also have remixes. They have projects coming out this spring. Man, you guys don't even understand. I got a project coming called Directions Disco. We got Vamos Samba. What else we got? Turn You On. Turn You On is just some crazy track that's like, it reminds me of something that like Cash would have did a long time ago. I don't know. Anyway, you guys watch out for Assylum Effort Records, because we got some stuff, man, and like we got a lot of energy and we got a lot of tracks. So eat them up, because we'll make more. Just like Doritos.
I love it. I love it, man. I love not only the fact that your team, they're doing stuff, but the energy and the excitement and the passion that you have for the art form is truly contagious. I tell you, I appreciate you for your energy. Where do you see this thing going? Everything that's going on, we've been virtual, and talk a little bit about your virtual experience. But where do you see this house thing going?
As far as virtual, I've actually when the COVID started, I started writing a lot of tracks for myself and basically getting the label together. So I have not been doing any virtual stuff. Like as far as like streaming, I practice all the time. So don't even think I ain't ready, man, because I'm ready. But I just try to get this label off the ground. I feel like I kind of just let it happen organically, when we get it together. I know Mel is definitely setting up something, so the label itself will have an outlet, and because that's what he wants to make sure that the label has its own outlet of streaming for all the artists on it and whoever we guest. And me myself, if we do that, I'm just gonna do a show, so that's just me. I watched a lot of television when I'm a kid, so I do. Hey, be cool. Sorry, the doggy. What else did you ask me?
Just where do you see house music going? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's my thing. I think this is my prediction. Within 5 or 6 years, we're all gonna have virtual stuff. I mean, you got your show, and like all DJs, it'll just be one of the DJ standards that have virtual stuff. But not only that, there'll be virtual clubs by then. actual clubs. You know, with this VR stuff, there'll be actual clubs that you can walk into and go in and see a DJ playing in that club, in that environment. And I think all that's going to be hooked in the next few years, as well as having residencies in physical form. People gonna have virtual residencies, not only just like straight streaming, you know, like in 2-dimensional, but I'm talking about where you walking in clubs and, oh, hey, it's Joe Cloud Sale. And think about it, man. I mean, if you can do that from your living room, I mean, where there's no end to that. Also, this is also my theory. Some of the new technology that's coming out in playback audio is 3-dimensional. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but it's basically like a takeoff of 7.1 surround sound. The only thing is, with the way the sound imaging is, they give you okay, with surround sound you got this, and you have all incarnations of this. But with the 3-dimensional sound, they give you this. They give you a Z-axis. You know what I'm saying? So you know, you got this, and you also have this. So they give you, so when you hear it, it'll be 3-dimensional to you. It'll have a height to it. So like in a club, when you hear boom, 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 you hear like the reflection off the ceiling. You hear the reflection off, you know, that's what makes it special to you, makes it all around. That's the next thing in sound. They're gonna make it so that you have headphones, and they're gonna make it so that like you can do it with whatever you're listening to. Like you don't have to have special headphones. It's going to be some sort of imaging in the signal to where you put your regular headphones on and it sounds like, it doesn't just sound like this in stereo and go around your head, but it'll be more like this. And I think when you do that and you can split signals like this, you can take a signal, because I've already experimented with taking like one track on the left and one track on the right, and then mixing them so that they're aligned, and then crossing them over and doing. I was, you know, this psychedelic stuff. Anyway, I think that like once they do that and DJs get a hold of it, I mean, think about the possibilities there. You can make your mix 3-dimensional by frequency or by instrument. I mean, it goes from this to this. Like now you're there audibly, man. That's just my prediction. I think in like 5-6 years it's gonna be like that. You know, like I don't really know. I mean, I like to read and stuff, but I really feel like that would be very interesting to put like the kick drum down here and put it up here, and then put your hats over here. I mean, man, I do that all day. You know?
That's some interesting predictions. DJ Dewey B, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with that. Let's sign me up.
Yeah, man. I mean, think about it. When you start thinking in terms of 3-dimensional sound, you know, I mean, that just opens you up, especially for D, because all we do, we're like bucket heads anyway. All we do is take, oh, that sample, those keys are cool. I mean, that's just how our minds work. But then you can like start making the sound like which you have to like, you have to sort of calibrate it in your head. Now you don't have to calibrate it. You can make the way you think about sound, the way you think about everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way you arrange a room, you can arrange your mix that way. I mean, woo, man. No, I mean, all over that, man. I don't know, man. I just think that's so many possibilities. I mean, because I'm into, you know, I like psychedelic rock. I like psychedelic sounds and things that can like change your mood by the way, you know, you hearing, because I used to indulge in a lot of things. So I had to figure out ways that sound could do that in a more healthy way. And man, the technology that they're coming up with sound, it's just becoming more and more psychedelic. It's becoming more, you know, real to your ears, because, you know, we, like most of our information is taken through our eyes. And, you know, comparatively, we're like 30% down from like where our ears take in, our eyes take out like 30% more. So when you can structure something so that your ears can understand things better, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, dogs can hear in 3 dimensions, but we can't. But what if we could? Ooh, and a DJ too? and then you trying to convey feelings, and no, I'm all over that, man.
It's a game changer. It's a game changer.
And, you know.
Hey, DJ producer Black Sjuan, it has been a pleasure. I've enjoyed every moment of it. DJ Dewey B, any final words, thoughts?
Thank you so much.
Assylum Effort Records.
That's my label. Can I get some shouts out to some people?
Absolutely.
Sean Smith, he runs Smooth Agent Records. Love his stuff. That's my main man. He's always cool with me. Shout out to John Lemon, also a good friend of mine. Shout out to Griffo and Senzo in Europe. They hold down the label over in Europe really well. Shout out to Esha and Adarsh. They're friends of mine. Hey y'all.
Hey, well, I tell you what, make sure they watch the replay. It's available on Facebook, so you can take that, share it with your family, friends, and your followers and your audiences. This is one that must be seen. Great time. Really enjoyed
Thank you so much for having me on, man. Like I said, I'm big fans, and I'm a super fan of house. So anybody wants to, hey, you want me to come back? I talk about all kinds. Like I said, we didn't get to do it this time, but you name somebody, and I can tell you, oh yeah, I lived upstairs from him. I used to blah, blah, blah,
all right, DJ Dewey B, you heard it here. We're gonna take you up on that, and would love to have you back in the near future. And with that, we're gonna let everybody go on and turn your music on and get your feet moving. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Thanks a lot.
Everybody.